origin stories of Olokun worship. Two origin of Olokun worship. Benin is widely accepted home or origin of Olokun worship, while most Olokun initiates in Africa are female. The legends that mark the beginning of Olokun worship feature stories of men being their initial worshippers. There was a hunter that resided in Uronigbe near Benin City in Benin Kingdom. One day, he ventured off into the woods on a hunting expedition. While chasing a bush pig, he was attracted to the river Ethiop, and where he was taken to the bottom of the river. It was here that he was introduced to the deity Olokun. He stayed in this underwater abode for 3 years, and in the course of that 3 years, he was encouraged to participate in spiritual rituals that went on all the time. Equally, during this 3 years period, he learned the spiritual sciences and worship practices associated with Olokun. Back in his hometown, his family and neighbors assumed he was dead after being gone so long. They were surprised, to say the least, when he returned mute and dumbfounded, without the ability of speech or general sensibilities, carrying a water pot on his head. His only response was to dance to the shock of townsfolk. Eventually, the crowd that had gathered before began to mock his dance, and he started what was to become a 14-day tribute of ritual dancing to Olokun. At the end of this period, the hunter began to talk again and chose to share some of his experiences. All skepticism about the story were erased as he began to do spiritual work and created positive results for those around him. He was named chief priest of Olokun at this point, even until today. Hunters reenact this famous prodigal son's life with the annual festival and a Kaba dance. Uronigbe's Olokun temple sits on the spot where he rested his Olokun pot shrine on the 14th day. In Evuesi, there was a boy named Omobe, rascal, troublesome child, that had great physical ability and was trained to be a wrestler. As he grew older, his wrestling abilities grew stronger, and before long, he was considered the greatest wrestler in the world. At his belt, the local priest Diviner warned his parents to not allow Omobe to climb palm trees. But one day, while his parents were away, he decided to climb a palm tree anyway. From high up, he could peer into the spirit world, and he noticed that several divinities had gathered for a fantastic wrestling match. He immediately climbed down and made his way to the spirit world to test his own luck amongst a variety of spirits. He beat every opponent, ancestors, gods, and all others lost at his hand, even Ogun. Finally, he prepared to wrestle with Olokun. While he summoned all of his physical strength, Olokun drew on his spiritual powers. During the match, Omobe attempted to throw Olokun to the ground. But instead, Olokun ended up firmly attached to his head. All attempts at removing Olokun from his head failed, and Olokun declared it his permanent abode as a sign of Omobe's arrogance and disrespect towards the other spirits. When Omobe returned home, the local priest diviner advised him to appease Olokun or die. So for 7 days, Omobe made sacrifice. On the last day, Omobe was initiated as the first Olokun priest. After this, Olokun loosened his grip on Omobe's life. It is said that Omobe's lack of respect for his parents and spiritual elders and the divinities has landed him in such straits. It was said that God decided to help the people of the world by sending his first son, Olokun, to come and rule the people on earth. From across the sky and heavenly oceans, God sent Olokun as king to cross the oceans together with his beloved queen and 6 other co-wives to sail down to the earth. They filled the boat with all needed earthly treasures and comforts and got a paddler, Ozigwe, to transport them to the earth. But God told Olokun that until Olokun arrived on earth, he should not enjoy any of his wives carnally. Owing to the fact that King Olokun and his first wife, the queen, were so deeply in love, they could not hold themselves from having sexual intercourse, while the other co-wives tried to cover around them and found them singing beautiful songs that may cover up every nuptial sound. As we know, God could not be deceived. God halted King Olokun's journey on the earth right in the middle of the ocean and made Olokun as the king of the oceans. God then promised to send his second son, Omo, to cross the sky and directly come on earth to rule. God advised the new king from the sky that he must not forget to pay tribute to his senior brother, Olokun, in the ocean and seas. Moreover, God advised the new sky king on earth to plead with Olokun to be giving him fortunes and material things, because God had earlier given the power of treasure to King Olokun when it was first intended for him to be king on the earth. The sky king Pharaoh Ogiso and all descending Obas used to go to the Olokun priest at Uoton near the sea, giving tokens of love as small leather boxes, Ekbotkin, as treasure representative, cowries, money representatives, fruit, food representative, etc., and ask the priest to plead on their behalf to King of the Sea, Olokun, to sympathetically release treasure to them. This is said to be the beginning of pleading to Olokun and the religion around it in West Africa. Those with a connection with Olokun may experience his or her messages and heal through dreams and when in contact with the ocean. Priests may use mirrors, screen-clad sky gazing, and more familiar oracles like 16 cowrie divination to communicate with Olokun on behalf of self-client community and nations.